Hi class, welcome to Mrs. Caldero's spreadsheet tutorials number 3. This time our tutorial videos will be focused on formulas. Now this is a very important point we've reached where we see why spreadsheets are so effective for so many persons. Instead of using calculators at home, spreadsheets really help us to make large calculations using their formulas. So let us look and see what you will be able to do at the end of today's tutorial. You will be able to develop formula using different arithmetic operations and following BODMAS rules. We will look and see the effect of copying, pasting, and deleting operation on formula. We'll be able to identify and use relative and absolute addressing on values and formula. Remember Bob? We're still helping Bob, and we're still checking to see how we can actually use spreadsheets to help out anyone who is helping out in a store after school to help with the day-to-day task of totaling sales and all of that. So let us go again to our worksheet where we are able now to update our worksheet to include formulas. So there you go. So last tutorial, we got to this point. Just to recap, we were able to utilize the Merge and Center feature right here by highlighting and clicking on Merge and Center. We were able to format the text in various ways by increasing font size. We changed font color. We changed the font. We were able to center the values in the cell by using these alignment here, left, center, and right. We were able to center the values in the cell. We were able to format values to currency, right? We were able to use the border grid as well. One thing we want to do today, we want to keep this as a reminder of what we were able to do. So I want to be able to copy this table by right-clicking and clicking on copy. And let us go to another worksheet. Let's go to sheet 2, and I want to click on paste. And paste has various options when you're pasting in Excel. So you can paste just by the table as it is. We can paste using formulas. We can paste formula number format, keep source formatting, and we want to click on that one. The source formatting is the way the data was formatted in the sheet before this, when we first created it. Now when it comes across like this, what we'll have to do is basically fix the columns, expand the columns again. All right, so we could just do that by double clicking, double clicking, double clicking, double clicking. All right, we could even highlight our cells, our rows, and again we can format it. Format the row height. Let's put it to 25. All right, so good. So now with this worksheet, we could apply changes. The first thing we want to look at is a formula. How do we create formulas in Microsoft Excel? One of the first things we do is we have to remember that all formulas in Microsoft Excel begin with an equal sign. So in order to, for example, if it is we want to calculate the total for this sale with item number 1001, now with a calculator, we were doing it manually, we would multiply the cost by the quantity. In this case, two key things to remember with formulas. One, we begin with an equal sign. And two, we use the cell name, not the values in the cell. So instead of multiplying 5 times 1, we are going to be utilizing the terms, the cell names, C3 times D1. And our multiply sign will not be our X, it will be the asterisk, which will be found above the number 8 on your keyboard. So let us try it. We're going to go equal C3. We can click on it. If you're typing it in, you can, or when you're working on Microsoft Excel, you can actually click on the cell. So equal C3 asterisk, which is times D3. And as we press enter, the value comes in. Right? So when we click on the value, we are seeing that the value is 5, but to get that value, we multiplied C3 by D3. Right? Now we can copy the formula used to calculate this value in the other cells. We can right click and we can click on copy, and we can highlight these two cells. We can right click on it, and we could actually go to the paste options and we want to paste the formula. And when we click on it, we are seeing that this is now C4 D4 times D4, and this is now C5 D times D5, but the original formula was C3 times D3. We see the use here of relative cell addressing, where the formula changes relative to the row that it's in. So seeing that we are now in row 4, the value changed to 4. Here we are in row 5, the value changed to 5. Let's highlight our data and place it to currency as well. Good. So again, we were able to click on equal sign and click on copy and paste. One other thing we can do, let's click on undo. We calculated the first value. Another way we can use relative cell addressing to copy the formula into other cells, when we calculate the first row, the bottom right hand corner, as you place your cursor over it, it changes into a cross. We click down and we hold the left mouse button and we utilize the autofill option. Autofill, Mr. Autofill, is a very important feature when you have similar formulas to be used in adjacent cells. So we simply drag it down and voila, there you go. It fills in the formulas for you, and the formulas are now relative to its location and its cell address. All right, so we see the use of relative cell addressing in this formula. So again, just a reminder, equal sign, we use the cell name, not the values in the cell, and we can use autofill when we have similar formulas coming down in either adjacent rows or adjacent columns. Good, so we calculated one formula here. Let us see if we can calculate another formula right here, right? So again, to add up all these values, we can click on equal sign, C3, add, C4, add, C5, enter. And there you go. So we have the value that gives us the total. And as you look in the formula bar, we will see the formula used to get this value. Another way that we could, for example, this value here looks different to this. So we want to kind of copy the format that was used here. One way you can do that is click on the cell and we can utilize Format Painter right here. And we could apply the Format Painter to this value. What it would do, it would apply all the formatting features applied to this cell to this new one. All right, so one other thing we want to do, we want to continue with formulas. I want to insert a cell right here. There are times, many times, when we have sales in a shop, no matter how small it is, sometimes we have to apply VAT to it. So let us include our VAT value, right? Let's insert two rows right above. And we want to put our VAT value right at the top. And this is where we introduce constants in the cell. So we want to put a value that we want to keep locked into the formula. And we're going to see how we're going to do that just now. So let's just type in the VAT value. And we want to set or format that value to percentage because we want to get it set as percentage one time. So I'm going to put a decimal value here, 0.125. Let's say we put in it as 12.5%. Even though VAT is 15, let's try it as 12.5% first. And we click on it and we want to set that to percentage. All right, we can leave it as 12.50, or again, we can utilize the two buttons, the two icons we looked at before, the two commands, and we can decrease the decimal points. All right, so we have it as 12.5%. Let's fix that VAT value. Label, sorry, not VAT label. Good, so we have our VAT percent on top. Now let's include a column right here, insert a column, and we want to call it, let's say, the subtotal put it all caps, subtotal. Let us insert another column. Let us put the VAT amount. All right, good. So our subtotal would be these values here. So we want to cut and we want to paste it in, and we want to paste it with the formula. So we want to paste, right? And it went across with the formula. Fabulous, right? So now let us fix our border grid. All of these are things you're going to have to do when you're making changes to your spreadsheet, okay? So you could make changes to suit, fix the border grids as you go along, just tidying up your worksheet so it looks professional. Right, at this point, we want to calculate the VAT value. Now, there are many times that you may want to utilize a constant in a formula. So in this case, I want to calculate the VAT, I have to multiply the subtotal by 12.5%. So at this point, instead of typing in the 12.5%, we're going to click on the cell. So equal E5 times 12.5 B2. We press enter and we get the VAT amount. So 12.5% of $5 will be 63 cents. So let us utilize autofill and see what happens. Now we have a problem. Let us see what is the problem. When we click on this area, now remember when we utilized relative cell addressing before, the value or the formula changed relative to the address of the value or the rows. So this one, the first formula, we looked at E5, which is the subtotal, times B2. We want all of them to be multiplied by B2, but in this case, what happened here? It changed it relative to the row, so it changed it to B3. And here, it changed into B4. But what is B4? It's a label. And what is in B3? What do we want to do? We want to make sure that this value stays locked into the cell. It does not change. In order to make sure a value does not change, we have to utilize what you call absolute cell addressing. With absolute cell addressing, you make sure that the constant in the cell or the value in the cell does not change relative to the row number, right? So let us undo this. Let us clear here. So right click. Let us clear contents and let us go now. And in this formula, we want to make sure to make a cell absolute, we place a $ before and after the column letter. So B2 is the cell that we want to lock into the formula. So we click before the B and we place a $. And we click after the B and we place a $. Now we can press enter. And at this point, the value does not change, of course. But at this point, when I use autofill, we get the correct values. Because if you look at this formula now, you are seeing the B2 did not change in the formula. As well, you're seeing again, B2 did not change. So in this formula, we utilize absolute cell addressing so that the value will not change. In this formula here, we were able to utilize relative cell addressing because we wanted the formula to change relative to the row that we are in, right? So good. So we have our subtotal, we have our VAT. How do we get our total? How do we have to simply add the subtotal to the VAT. Let's do that. Equal E5 add F5. Enter. And at this point, we can use autofill again because we want the values to change relative to the rows that it's in. So we are clearly seeing today that the use of formulas are extremely important. This is just a very, very small example of what persons can do utilizing calculations. And just to show you, if I, for example, the importance of using constants. If, for example, I change this to 0.15, we see the effect of that change in the values. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial video. See you in class where we do more work with spreadsheets.